Hello, this is the Maid. You can call me Leah. I went record shopping and it's out of control. This is 2 different days of record shopping, but let's just say when you've spent a lot of time in the house and you need to get out, you go a little crazy. But the finds were amazing. So let's get to know some of the records that I found, and there are some spectacular finds in what I collect. And I'll just share very quickly. Well, you'll get an idea of what I collect. But my number one thing that I collect is unknown 80s bands from Canada. It's a very tight genre, but it's amazing how many I can find. Let's take a look at where we went, and we'll start with Solo Records in Royal Oak on Woodward. And we'll start with them. They had dollar records, and so we're going to start with the $15 records that I got at Solo Records. And I'm just going to, when we got something to say about some of them, I have cheat sheet for some of the interesting artists you may not have heard of. Been taking an interest sort of in 60s stuff for quite a while. So Gary Lewis and the Playboys. Again, these are the dollar records that I found. I did not know Bobby Sherman passed away in 2025, so I was interested to pick up 2 different Bobby Sherman records. Dollar records, why not, right? We're going to get to Sniffin' the Tears later, but I found this, I believe, to be their second record. And let me, you're going to get a quick peek here. I forgot to look. This is from 1980. And yes, I believe this was their second release. And they were a British band, and you know them for Driver's Seat. We will talk more about them in a minute. Canadian band, Poussette Dart Band, again for $1. This is, I'm looking for a year. Sorry, I did some prep, but I didn't look at years on all of these. Not finding the year there, sorry. From Ohio, the Michael Stanley Band had a hit with, I think it's on here. He Can't Love You was on this one. They had both these Michael Stanley Band records. I will tell you at one point, divorce and life happens, and I had these before, but I don't have them anymore, so I had no problem picking those up for $1. Also, boy, when I see any sort of not necessarily just new wave, but alternative artist in the dollar bin, I've always been a little bit more curious about Graham Parker and the Rumor, and I know some of my friends are fans, so found 2 Graham Parker records for $1. Yes, please. Back to some 60s hits. This says that they're the original artists. There was certainly a point in time where they'd put out these records and there'd be some other artist singing them. It says it's the originals. I'll just flip that around for a second. It says that, we do have the original artists there. When we go to put it on and it sounds like something else, then we'll be... I have this, but I'm always inclined to take a second one, especially if it's in any better shape than the other one. I am all about Archie. And again, we go back to any new wave alternative artist. Again, I had both of these, but some things disappeared. So we pick up the 2 Nick Kershaw records you've probably seen the most of. A Ben Jericho record, also a British new wave 80s. Let me see, their hit was, they had Let Her Fall and The Motive are both songs you might know from this record. Minor hits in the US. Okay. They did have some Gino Vanelli, but I just got this one. I could have probably gotten about 5 more Gino Vanellis, but I don't think I need all of Gino's records. Maybe I do. Who knows? All right. So those were the records from, and I'm crashing things, sorry. Those were from Solo Records. I didn't even go into anything else. So I was like, okay, Dollar Records, yes, please. Next up, we went, I didn't grab their card, or I don't see it. Dearborn Music is pretty well known here in Michigan. We were at the Farmington Hills, or Farmington Dearborn Music. And this one, I would say, is a prize. Let me see what I found out about Private Sector. Definitely new wave. You can listen to them on YouTube. And whoa, like, yes, very new wave, very 1987. And they have a few releases. This is a record, a radio station copy, which is fine. Actually, I kind of find that to be precious, but not everybody likes that there's, you know, some writing. There's 3 stars. It says, good beat, easy to dance to. I've been watching a lot of American Bandstand. I don't know. But if we do flip this around, I believe that it, it has stars by the songs. And this one, Or I Am in Love, says Christmas in it. It's good to know, just in case. Written, produced by Private Sector. I looked and looked. I couldn't find their city, although it says Rose Hill Records, Jersey City, New Jersey. This was, just because I've been able to listen to some of it already, this was a sweet find. Also at Dearborn Music was this one, Bang Bang. Very much looks like the era, right? Let's see. This indicated that it was from 1985 and that they're Canadian. So, yes, bing, ding, ding. Very much looks the time and the part. Although, boy, I'll tell you, I have been looking. I don't think this is the Canadian one. Oh, you see what's next. This one indicates that they're from Los Angeles. Because there was a Bang Bang from Canada, too. Haven't been able to listen to this yet. But it was recorded in LA, so. But this is definitely, even if it's not Canadian, I'm always interested in any type of that era band that didn't make it. Let's see if they're any good. Why didn't they make it, right? Okay, we're still at Dearborn Music. This was, again, I go back to, and I guess it sounds all sad and stuff, but whatever. I had this at some point. I don't anymore, so it was time to own Radio City again. And this indicates that it's a 50th anniversary, red and white swirl vinyl. Let's take a look at the vinyl, shall we? You can glance at Peter and Gordon while I should have opened it, sorry, but I would like to see this myself. What the heck, if you want a record store day version and some pretty swirly vinyl, go for it. Just because I don't have the original doesn't mean that I don't love Big Star, right? We're taking a look, and there is the swirl. Sorry, I don't always have the best lighting, but got the Ardent label. Beautiful. That will be on the turntable soon. And I never really make it to record store day type purchases, so I don't know how much it was. We're not gonna, oh, let's see, $35.99. Yeah, that seems about right. Okay. I think we're moving on to Flip Side. Oh, I went nuts at this Flip Side. What a fabulous store. Here is their card. Flip Side Records. Let's see if we can get that to focus. Berkeley, Michigan. They have a dog named Seamus who greets you. I could have been there many more hours, to be honest. They were fantastic, and the prices were right on. So more of the 60s that I'm, like I said, getting into. Best of Peter and Gordon, World Without Love. Is it Chad and Jeremy or Peter and Gordon? Oh, I think it's Peter Asher. Yeah, there's a Beatles connection there. But wasn't one of them... Oh, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Something... No, it was Badfinger that somebody thought it was the Beatles and they were just using a different name. You guys are all probably know better than I do, but there's some connection there. Maybe was the In-Laws? All right, I'll stop. All right, next up, I love the Partridge Family, and I don't have all the records, so I found a couple of really good ones. $3.99, yes, please. So we found this one. It says it's from Sound Magazine. And then this is the shopping bag one. The shopping bag is not inside there. I've seen this one back in Phoenix a few times, but it's more expensive. It's got the shopping bag. I want the music. And whenever I sing Partridge Family, I just like sing the song, I think love, I love you. It's just sing the word love and you've got a Partridge Family song. So I was more than pleased to find those. Another of my 60s interest here, Georgie Girl from The Seekers. So we'll see what that one's like. All right, let's talk about one-hit wonders. We go back to, that's kind of my thing. Doesn't always have to be Canadian. This band, the Stabilizers, from Erie, PA. Who else is from Erie, PA? I see them over there. The Wonders. They had a one-hit wonder called One Simple Thing, 1985, probably into 86. Maybe went into the Billboard Top 20, if you remember it. Just, I think their label fell apart, and then they never put out another record. So this is the only full vinyl of the Stabilizers, and I cannot wait. What's really funny is I have the CD of this, but I didn't have the vinyl, but I suspect in this case that the CD is probably worth more than the vinyl. This was, what, $5.99? Oh, no, I think it's $9.99. I can't quite see. Yeah, it was $9.99. All right, speaking of fabulous one-hit wonders, again, I have the CD of this, but I don't have the vinyl. This song, their one-hit wonder was called Sausalito Summer Nights. What year was 1981? They are Dutch. We're Dutch. Again, maybe it's kind of my favorite songs. We're always in like maybe the top 20, top 30. So this has Sausalito Summer Nights on it. Just a fabulous pumping song. And then we go to yet another of the one-hit wonders we were talking about. Now I have both Sniffin' the Tears records, but this one this one was $10, the other one was $1, because this one actually has Driver's Seat. And you maybe know Driver's Seat. It's pretty well known. This was from 1978. As far as a one-hit wonder, excited to add that to my collection. I think I have the CD of this too. All right, this one we found at Flipside, and it is, let's see, I wrote down, this is interesting. This band apparently was on Saturday Night Live in like May of 1980, and they played with U2, they toured with Jay Giles, I believe New York-based new wave band, but their claim to fame was that they were a rare unknown band on Saturday Night Live. So I couldn't tell you, I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm excited to hear it. All right. Oh, we're back to Dearborn Music for a minute. These were in a cutout bin, but the next two really caught my attention. This band I couldn't even find on Discogs. It's like, how is it that you're not even on Discogs? It says it's from 1979 and that it's power pop from Bristol, England. And they only had a couple of singles. They had a violin player who went to play with Dexy's Midnight Runners. But otherwise, they really didn't have much of any full release. So this record is sort of like a reissue. If you want to read any of that, I don't know if I can fully get it to focus, but definitely caught my attention. So I'm excited to take a listen. And this was their, I don't know, I don't want to say hit, but You Don't Live Here Anymore. So that was caught enough of my attention to pick that up. And then this band said, again, it was in a cutout bin. It's manufactured by Third Man Pressing, which is, Jack White's label here in Detroit. So it was actually made in Detroit, and it says they were a late 70s, early 80s Detroit band, which is always going to catch my attention. That's when I started listening to music and learning about bands, and Detroit bands were something I was really interested in the start. So this also seems to be a type of compilation record of some of their singles and such. Too Tall for the Record Biz also was not on Discogs. So I'm interested to hear this. I got a lot of listening to do, you guys. All right, next up, clearly not not in the least bit hard to find, but it does have an additional bonus CD that says it comes with some Chris Cornell tracks and Paul Westerberg tracks. And for whatever reason, I just, when they did put out this on vinyl, I didn't purchase it. So it says it's the 25th anniversary edition. And it was, actually, I made a list of what I was looking for, and this was on it. So let's see how much I put out for this puppy. I don't see a price, so maybe we don't need to know, but I might have been the one I paid the most for. Yes, there's Dan Hill. Sometimes When We Touch, I believe, is on this. I have a strange fascination with Dan Hill. Just don't ask. I don't know. I mean, whatever. I like it. He's Canadian. Wow, this was my partner in crime that day, Rachel, found this record, $25. But what? So, huge INXS fan back in the day. I mean, of course I still am, but I used to search desperately for all their singles, because each individual member of INXS would do sort of like a solo track as a B-side of their singles. And I'll be darned if this doesn't have the B-sides from Shabu Shaba, which I probably searched desperately for, and maybe even took a record from Skateland that, oh my God, I just admitted a crime to have those B-sides. Well, look at this. This came out. It says it was a Record Store Day exclusive. Wonder if it says what year. Limited edition gold vinyl, and it has tracks performed from the 1983 US Festival. Holy moly. What? So, for example, the Sax Thing and Long and Tooth and Go West and Fantôme of the Opera are all B-sides from Shabu Shaba 45s. Somewhere in my home, because trust me, I found all those. But yes, please, holy cow. And then you see the tracks from Live at Us Festival, and then extended mixes of The One Thing in black and white. This is what? Didn't even know existed. But, I can't keep track of everything. This says it was $2 2023, which is the year I moved, so I probably wasn't paying the most attention. Okay, one more story. I don't have, oh, I'm sorry, Scotty, I don't have your card in front of me, but I went to Vintage and Vinyl in LaSalle, Ontario. Big fan of the shop. I love that he has his 80s stuff separate from sort of the 70s rock, just because this helps me to find what I'm looking for. And I scored 3, and it's pretty hard to find 3 unknown Canadian bands that I don't own. So thank you, Scotty. 2 of them from Ottawa. This one, Heaven's Radio. Apparently he knew too. Heaven's Radio and Screaming Bamboo, both from Ottawa. Heaven's Radio, 1978. And let's see, Screaming Bamboo, 1986. But do not own either of these rare Canadian 80s bands, or late 70s also. Looking forward to taking a listen to both of them. Here's the back of Heaven's Radio. I think this one said it was maybe a little bit more rock than new wave. I believe this one is going to be more new wave from what I was reading. Here's the back of Screaming Bamboo. It says it's their first record. And from what I could find, first and only. And is this the one? Yeah, this was recorded at Grant Avenue Studio, which I believe is in Hamilton, although they're from Ottawa. And then this next one also indicated Grant Avenue. This next one, engineered, the band's called Photograph, engineered by Daniel Lanois. It has thank yous to Tom Cochran and Ken Greer. So there's some, heavy duty names in Canadian music to the back of, to the background of this record, Photograph. This one does indicate it's 1981, which is one of my favorite years of music. So I'm excited to hear any of the early 80s. I guess I shouldn't, but 81 always seems to have good stuff. Excited to hear this one, and just stunned to find those 3 records at Vintage and Vinyl. I'm sure every time I go there, it's going to be exciting. One more. Thanks so much for paying attention or whatever and enjoying, I hope. I have never owned this, and my parents had the 8-track. This was my way of being turned on to the Beatles. That's sort of when you're a generation that was more so brought up in the late 70s, early 80s. You didn't necessarily have the originals of all the Beatles records. So for me, being able to finally own, I just have seen it, and it's always super expensive. What did I get it for? Yeah, 30? Yeah, I think it's $29.99. I don't know, but I am just tickled to finally own Beatles love songs. So that was my crazy January 2020. Well, it was New Year's Eve and then like January 4th. So crazy record buying frenzy, and I'm just thrilled with everything I found. So, oh my goodness, I got a lot of listening to do. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.